Hello everybody, we are here with your VAMANA guide, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be throwing VAMANA into the jungle. VAMANA can be played both in the solo lane and the jungle, but I do lean him slightly into the jungle because of a recent change that was made to VAMANA that we'll talk about in just a moment. So for our build, we'll be grabbing ourselves a Assassin's Blessing, tier 1 katana, blink, a health potion, and a hand of the gods. Right off the bat, we're going to talk about VAMANA's passive just because his passive is super easy. A percentage of VAMANA's physical protections is converted to physical power. So 20% of the physical protections that you build gets converted into physical power. This is basically the incentive to bring him into the solo lane is his passive. But you don't entirely have to utilize this in order to play VAMANA effectively. Think about a regular game where you build maybe 200 physical protections. Well, then that becomes about 40 power. So it's a nice amount of power, but it's not a game-breaking amount of power. For our first ability, we will be grabbing our 3. This is our Umbrella Ring. We are going to throw this in a line ability. It'll go through all minions. It'll go through all gods. When it hits them on the way out and on the return, it is going to do damage to the target. Same damage each time. And it is also going to slow the attack speed and movement speed of the target. It slows both of them by 25%. And it's for 3 seconds. And so that will refresh if you hit him on the way out and on the way back. Gonna look at a new wall really quick right here. I'm gonna blink in, hit him with the slow, wait for that to come back so it hits him again. And then pop my 2 to try to get the first blood. I'm gonna go down here, but it's worth it for the first blood. For our second ability, we grabbed our Armored Umbrella. This is a very straightforward ability. It is a cone in front of you. Now, this is not a cone in front of you like a Changa cone. This is an instant damage cone everywhere out in front of you. So when I come up to use this ability and I click it, it just instantly does the damage to everybody inside of that cone. At level 3, I will go ahead and grab my 1. Our 1 on VAMANA is our movement ability. This is going to be a dash that we can kind of control in a line. Think about kind of like how Chiron dash works. Anybody in our path that we hit, whether minion or enemy god, is going to be knocked up in the direction that we're kind of dashing. So you can see me dash at Nuwa, and so I'm dashed right at him. It's going to knock him backwards towards his tower because that's where his momentum was going. And so he's going to take that damage from the ability and get knocked up. Keep in mind that VAMANA is one of the older gods in the game. And so some of his abilities are a little bit more basic. You see that a lot for the older gods in Smite. But his ultimate is absolutely anything but basic. It does so many things, it is kind of ridiculous. And one of the reasons why we play VAMANA in the jungle for this guide is because of his ultimate and something that they've done very recently to it. So you can see this thing is just a wall, an absolute wall of text, all right? Because it does so much. We're grabbing a golden blade on our first bag. This is because we are in the jungle, and so we are focused on farming. VAMANA does have some mana problems, but we don't necessarily want to invest in cooldown / mana items. We're looking for a more movement speed oriented type build. So we're going to get the golden blade. This is going to help us a lot in the jungle clear department or the lane clear when we get into lanes. And in general, it's just a good item. We get attack speed, movement speed, and power, which is what we're really looking for on jungle VAMANA. So getting into our ultimate, we gain a huge amount of size. So VAMANA goes from being the little baby to the big baby. During this ultimate, you are CC immune for the entire duration of the ability. This ability lasts by default for 6 seconds. While you are in the CC immune ultimate, you also are gaining protections. Those protections being both physical and magical protections. You are also going to get a power buff while you are inside this ultimate as well. So not only are we getting immunity, not only are we gaining protections, we are also gaining a bunch of power. Our auto attacks become AoE, so we get a cone-based auto attack right in front of us. That cone-based auto attack is going to help us land autos onto multiple enemies if they are standing right by each other. On top of that, we are also going to gain regeneration. We are going to gain health regeneration of 1% per 0.2 seconds. We also gain a shield, 1% of max health shield per 0.2 seconds. On top of that, your movement speed, this is the most recent change to VAMANA. Your movement speed penalty for attacking and backpedaling and strafing are reduced by 20%. So just by popping your ultimate, you actually have a small, basically hastened fatalis effect just by clicking this ability. That hurts. I might actually go down here. Nope. We're going to be able to get away from that one. That's not it, though. We're not done yet. On top of that, successful attacks on enemies provide stacking movement speed. That's right. When you auto attack on VAMANA in the ulti, if you hit successful auto attacks, you can gain 3% movement speed, stacking up to 5 times. So an additional potential 15% movement speed. But wait, there's more. On top of all of that, if you are attacked while inside of this ability, the more you are attacked, the longer this ability extends out. So it's baseline 6 seconds, but taking gods while in your ultimate can extend this out a significant amount of time. And that is all the things that VAMANA can do within his ultimate. So first 3 abilities and passive, pretty straightforward. Ultimate, extremely crazy. Has so many different things on it. The reason why I like VAMANA in the jungle is the recent additions of the minus 20% strafing auto attacking penalty is huge for VAMANA, and the addition of that 3% movement speed stacking up to 15% really lets you just get a ridiculous amount of damage off on VAMANA. So right there you can see I used my ultimate in order to get the Robin quite low. Then I blinked in behind him, used my 2 to get the most damage off, and finish him off with the 1, which I also used as my getaway skill. For our leveling order on VAMANA, it should come as no surprise that we are going to be leveling our ultimate first. It is our priority. Whenever we can level our ulti, we are going to, because that's going to give us increased protections, increased physical power, just making us ever so much stronger in our ulti. We are going to rank up our 2 second. The reason why we rank up our 2 second is because it's going to lower the cooldown of this ability. The lowering of that cooldown is very, very helpful for us just in terms of our jungle clear. Then we're going to rank up our 3 because you have to keep in mind that this damage procs twice. And then finally, we're going to level up our 1. It is mostly our initiation / getaway tool. So the official level order for VAMANA is 4, 2, 3, and 1. Now on VAMANA Jungle, we'll be going to be basing our build around our ultimate. So our first 3 abilities are going to scale in general better off of like power items. But our ultimate, which is really where VAMANA finds all of his craziness, comes out from his ultimate. Oh, I should also mention one more thing about his ulti, because I forgot to mention, not only does it do all of the things that I previously mentioned, it also has a built-in spectral. So you walk through all player-made walls while in your ultimate. So if Odin throws down a wall, if Ymir throws down a wall, whatever, doesn't matter. You can walk right on through them, so there's no way to body block Vamana with that kind of thing. Gonna throw down my ulti underneath this tower. I'm just gonna keep diving the Kumba. I'm just gonna tank this tower. I'm gonna hit the tower and I'm gonna hit the Kumba at the same time. And you can just see all of the regen coming through for me. Now, you could see that I was not gaining an increase in my duration of my ulti while I was sitting there tanking the tower. That is because you only gain the increase in time on Vamana in your ultimate, taking damage from God. So minion damage, objective damage, the tower, whatever, none of that is going to increase the length of my ulti. It is only taking God damage that is going to do that.
Your team has destroyed.
Die, Mr. Harvey. What are you doing, man? For our third item, so we started off with the Golden Blade. We went into the Ninja Tabai. Ninja Tabai is literally just to give us a bunch of movement speed right off the bat. And then we're going to pair it up with a Hastened Katana. Now, even though our ultimate is going to give us this reduction, as we get into the later stages of the game, the Hastened Fatalis becomes absolutely necessary. So I do recommend getting yourself that Hastened. You don't have to get it as a third item. Something like a Stone Cutting Sword is also a great item right here. I'm going to be getting it fourth this game. I'm feeling like I'm farming extremely well with my Golden Blade, and the only thing that's going to prevent me from getting kills is being able to catch up to my opponent. So that's why I've grabbed the Hastened right now. You also have to keep in mind as well that the Hastened will also proc when I'm not in my ulti stance, compared with my ultimate 20%. That's only when I'm in my ulti, so I don't get, like, you know, credit for that while I'm outside of it. I'm just gonna dive this new one right underneath this tower. He basically has no choice to get away from me. He literally has no play at his disposal to easily get him away. I'm gonna turn around and hit this Osiris with my 3 just to slow him down, keeping my finger on my bead just in case I needed it for his ulti to get away. Not going to need it. So the general idea on Vamana is that you are a backline diver in the jungle. So you may be a warrior by definition, but the way that you're going to play is like an assassin. So my goal is going to be to dive their characters that are squishy, preferably characters that don't have a real getaway skill. So Vamana, for his matchups, he absolutely thrives against gods that do not have a getaway skill. Whether it's a leap or a dash, it doesn't really matter. He's looking for none. If all you have is, say, a bonus movement speed or something, that is Vamana's jam. So somebody like an Izanami can jump over a wall. That's a good getaway from Vamana, because Vamana has no way except for our blink in order to get over a wall. Our 1 doesn't go through walls. Our 2 will not do damage through walls. Our 3 does go through walls. That should be noted. You can throw your 3 through walls to try to slow somebody down to help you get to them on the other side. I was going to go with Stone Cutting Sword here, but instead of going a Stone Cutting Sword, I'm actually going to go a little bit safer. I'm going to go put myself into a sledge, and then I'm going to get a Stone Cutting Sword. Both of these items are going to give me some physical protections, kind of on the side of what they're giving me. Because Vamana's passive gives us that 20% power off of protections, this means that these items are basically just giving us even more power than they normally would, because they give us some of those physical protections. That goes for the sledge and Stone Cutting Sword, making them very, very good hybrid items for Vamana. But back into the matchups, leaps are the most problematic for Vamana. Typically, Vamana can catch up to people that use dashes, so like a Rama or something, you can typically catch up to them. And if they don't have a getaway skill at all, like somebody like an Artemis or an AMC, you will absolutely thrash on them. Keep in mind, there is no way to peel Vamana in his ultimate. Absolutely None. It is impossible. The best case scenario for you if you're fighting against VAMANA is one of two things. One, you can jump over a wall like an Izanami can, so you can simply get away from VAMANA in his ultimate. The other thing that you can try to do is get a bunch of anti-heal and burn him down. One of the things that makes him so tanky in his ultimate is the fact that he has anti-heal. That he has all this healing in his kit. So if you get brawlers and divines and all this stuff on him, that's great in order to reduce the healing. But do keep in mind that is not the only portion of his ultimate that makes him tanky. He also gains a percentage shield based off of his max HP, which something like a sledge is going to make an even bigger shield. So he's extremely hard to burn down unless you're having like an entire team focus on him. So the best way is to simply get away. Jumps being the best at doing that. Reminder once again that the traditional forms of peel do not work against VAMANA. You are CC immune in your ulti. You walk right through walls. There's absolutely nothing that stops you except for actual walls on the map or a team of 5 trying to burn you down. Now, in the early stages of the game, you're really not going to just get burned down by a team. That's just not how the cookie crumbles. One, there's just not going to be like 5 people, you know, all grouped up at like the 10-minute marker, right? It's just not gonna happen. But as you get into like the 20-minute plus stage of the game, you do have to be a little bit more careful, especially if you're going a damage build in the jungle. Maybe don't full commit to your dives, you know, under T2s quite as hard. So now that we've gotten the sledge online, I'm going to get to work on that stone cutting sword. Our stone cutting sword going to give us a little bit more movement speed, which at this point isn't super relevant. We are plenty fast. What we're really looking for is that physical pen. So we don't have any pen in this build right now. We don't really care for pen that much, I'm going to be honest with you, until the ultra late stages of the game where we might sell our hastened for a Atalanta's bow. But for now, we want a stone cutting, because stone cutting is going to give us 30 flat pen, basically. It's the most efficient flat pen item that you can basically get in the game, because it reduces their protections when you hit them by 10. On a tank, this isn't going to be super relevant because they have 200 protections. Oh, darn. Now they have 190. But on a squishier character like this Izanami, who's got 52 physical protections, if I auto attack him 3 times, now he's got 22 physical protections. He's going to dash through the wall. I'm actually going to use my 3 to try to hit him. Purple buff did take him out right there, and I should be able to just hold down my W key. Going to pop the ulti. Left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, and there's nothing he can do about it. You can cancel yourself out of your 2 longer abilities on VAMANA. So if you're dashing and you want to get out of it, you can just go ahead and right click. It'll take you right out of that ability. This is important for when you're using it as an initiation tool. So instead of holding down your W and running all the way through somebody and then being stuck all the way in that animation, when you're going up to start your combat, you're gonna 1 for however long you need to get in range of the knockup. The second you hit the knockup, you pop right click, so that way you can immediately switch yourself into your abilities and into your auto attacks. So your standard combination on VAMANA is going to be popping your 1. You get in range of whatever you're fighting, it pops up into the air, 1 auto attack. Pop your 3. At this point, they're going to be landing. Right after you press your 3, you auto attack, and then you 2, and then you auto attack once again, using those abilities as auto attack cancels. Let's see if we can get a little fight on this Osiris just to show it. So I'm going to dash in. I'm not going to land the knockup. That's okay. I'm going to go for 3, auto attack 2, try to hit him on the way back with a football. Not going to hit him on the way back. I don't have my ulti up, so I do need to be a little bit careful. I'm going to pop a preemptive beat to make sure that I do not get stunned by him. I'm just trying to dodge as many autos as I can. I'm going to use my blink to get out of the range, and then I'm going to use my 1 as a getaway skill instead of an initiation tool. Backing up, I'm going to be able to grab this stone cutting sword. Gonna sell my Assassin's Blessing, and I'm going to start working on a Mantle of Discord.
An enemy has been slain.
Mantle of Discord at this point is going to give us a little bit of cooldown. The main reason why we actually want Mantle of Discord is because of the passive, giving us another form of CC immunity. So oftentimes what happens on VAMANA is you pop your ulti, you're all up in their business, you maybe get a kill, and then you come out of your ulti, and then you just die because you're squishy and you're in the back line. But if you have a Mantle of Discord, oftentimes you'll remain up in your HP until after you come down from your ulti. So this is going to give you an additional form of CC immunity when you need it the most. Gonna try to dash over towards this Osiris that we were fighting earlier just to get in range of him. Gonna throw down my 3 so he is slowed, keeping myself on track. Now I'm gonna pop my ultimate and start chasing down Kumba. I'm just gonna left click, left click, left click, left click, left click. There is nobody attacking me, so I'm actually gonna drop out of the ulti pretty quick here, but we should be able to get ourselves a tier 2 for our troubles. Items that you should be watching out for on VAMANA. Watch out for anti-heal being built on the other team. This in the form of things like Brawler's Beat Stick and Divine Ruin and Toxic Blade, but also in terms of actives. I don't know if they have a Kursong. They do not have a Kursong. Kursong can be very problematic for VAMANA because it's going to reduce your healing by a ton in your ulti. Sunder is also an interesting active against VAMANA because you gain that percentage shield. Reminder that Sunder now takes away a target shield. So if you get Sundered, which is not going to be hard to land on you when you're in your big baby form, not only are you going to be taking a bunch of extra damage while you're in your this big, giant, super easily hittable form, you're also going to have your entire shield taken off of you. So if they combine a Sunder with a Cursed Onk, you can be in big trouble. That same strategy actually works really well against Hades when he's using his ultimate as well. Just a little fun fact for you. Also works pretty well against Cthulhu. Any of those big, large lads and their ultis. So keep your eyes out for that on VAMANA. And lastly, keep an eye on how many shells the enemy team has. Your damage on VAMANA is based around auto attacks. You've got a little bit of this ability damage, but that's not the main form. The main form of your damage is going to come through based off of auto attacks, meaning that if they are building a lot of shells, they're going to have a lot of block stacks. So if they end up with 2-3 shells, if they time it right, that can be upwards of 6 block stacks onto a squishy target. And so 6 block stacks is basically going to be your entire ultimate if they're careful in not hitting you. So it's something that you need to keep in mind. I'm going to actually dash into this new one. I'm going to pop my 3 and then my ultimate immediately. I think his ultimate is probably still down. I just got juked super hard and his ultimate was up. I'm going to be able to finish off this new kill though right here in the mid lane. So this is what VAMANA thrives at. I saw a potential kill there in the mid lane. And so I literally just ran straight at it, even though I didn't have my team near me. And that's because I had my ultimate up. I know that there's no way that they're going to kill me with my ultimate up, right? At this point in the game, there's just no way it's going to happen. So I can go run a new Watt, a character who basically can't get away from me unless he uses like Aegis to sustain for 1.5 seconds or his ultimate to physically get in the air and out of my range. So he's a super easy target for me. With my ultimate down on VAMANA, here at the late stage of the game, I need to be a lot more careful. You're not going to see me making crazy dive plays until my ultimate is back up, because my ultimate is going to give me 100 physical power, 35 of each protection. Reminder, those protections are going to give me more power. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm just gonna try to make sure that this Nami doesn't come in here to steal this. I am actually a decent part of our damage though, so I need to kind of stick around. This is actually a little awkward. There we go. We're gonna get the fire done anyway. Scylla had just slightly off in the secure because we all got mez. I'm low on mana, but I'm gonna dive into this Kuma mid lane. We've got the pressure, we've got the fire giant regen. I'm gonna hit him with the 3 for the slow. See if I can't. I did get him on the return, so he got slowed for another 3 seconds. I don't want to use my blink here because I want to keep it up for the team fight at the Phoenix line that I know is going to be coming out. He uses his root, which makes him knock-up immune. But we're going to be able to get the Kumba down anyway. We should go attack middle lane. I'm going to back up to make sure they don't get the left T2. We're going to rank up both of our actives and grab ourselves a potion of power. Here at the end of the game, if I do get my speed potion online, what I'm looking for is to get rid of my Ninja Tabi. I would like to get an Atalanta's bow to replace my hastened at the very end of the game. It's going to give me some percent pen. It's a better stat item overall. When I don't necessarily need that hastened effect as we're fighting around objectives. And then eventually I would sell my boots, of course, for a final item. You can get a tankier item with this. Something like a CAD shield is a really good item for VAMANA right now because of the recent changes to healing. It just stacks so well, not only with you, but your entire team. Gotta pop my ulti so I can just chase down the Robin. He's gonna ult the Atlas. I'm just gonna sit in this Titan room. I've got a really long ulti on me. Gonna use my bonus power from Mono ult to come back and hit a Phoenix. Tell the boys to go over to right lane. Keep in mind that bonus power, yes, that works on things like Phoenixes. It's 100 flat power that works on my auto attacks, which means if I pop my ulti and then I'm just sitting there attacking Phoenixes, we're going to absolutely decimate them. It's basically an extra 100 damage while you're hitting Phoenixes. So VAMANA actually makes for a decent split push as well. Or simply popping the ulti so he can't die and killing the Phoenix before they can do anything about it. They've got a lot of respawns coming in. We should be a little bit careful in the Titan room. Unless Scylla lands that ulti, never mind. We probably don't have to be that careful anymore. That was such a good ulti. That was basically a one-shot right there. Oh my goodness, my Scylla's going absolutely nuts right now. All right, now we should be able to walk in here. Ultimate's still down for 20. Doesn't matter. We got 3 people dead. We should be able to waddle ourselves right on in at the 26-minute marker. Good air result. See if we can't follow up with a little knock of around. I'm going to pop my bead just to get out of this Titan room. Come back in and finish up strong. So as aforementioned, Atalanta's bow at the very end of the game to replace our hastened katana. Some people like to keep the golden bow, or golden blade at the end of the game. Some people don't. I myself kind of like the golden blade. I like being able to continue to clear even without my abilities up, especially in stages of the game where maybe there's fire creeps coming down and you have to clear it really fast and get into a team fight. So I personally don't mind keeping the golden blade. If you don't necessarily want to keep it, that's okay. Serrated Edge is a totally fine item for you to pick up damage-wise. You've also got some defense items that you can pick up that we mentioned earlier, like CAD Shield. CAD Shield is going to increase the sustain on everything you do. Reminder, they changed how plus healing works. So all plus healings affect all forms of heal, and all minus healings all minus healing affects all forms. So that means that CAD Shield increases your HP gain from your ulti. It increases HP 5, it increases lifesteal, it increases fire giant regen, all of that stuff. And vice versa, a divine ruin reduces all of that stuff. So having a CAD shield or a Rod of Asclepius on your team right now, really important for your team. It doesn't have to be your job specifically, but you should probably have one just in general in your team fights, guys. And that is our VAMANA guide.